Here is an argument from a fellow called John Robbins, now deceased.
We get, of course, from the Greek word logos, the English word logic.
I have no problem with that statement.
Look at this first chapter of John here. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. What he's doing is he's using a perfectly good Greek word and explaining it in Christian terms. The scriptural view is that logic is not created and logic is not superior to God, because John says logic is God. It's not some standard external to God that he has to obey. It is simply the way God thinks.
There is no problem using a conventional term to refer to something that we personally experience and can verify. For instance, thinking. To call what we experience as mental processes and label that using a conventional word is not problematic so long as we can personally understand what it means. However, to borrow a word from someone else and assume that it refers to something that exists is entirely a different matter. And this is precisely what John Robbins does. He borrows a definition from John in the Bible and assumes that it is true. He assumes that it even refers to something that exists. We have to note that John Robbins actually doesn't tell his listeners in the lectures he gives why he accepts the definition for God that's given in the scriptures. He simply assumes that they're true because the scriptures themselves say they are true. I'll now end this video with a 2-minute clip from a lecture by John Robbins that I'm including purely for its educational value. There's some irony here, so pay attention.
The axiom is your starting point or your premise. In fact, it's a peculiar kind of premise, and that is a first principle or a first premise. It's unproven by definition. Axioms are indispensable, not just for geometry, but for all thought. If you are thinking, you had to start thinking somewhere. And wherever you started that thinking was your axiom. Whichever proposition is most fundamental in your thinking, that is your starting point. That is your axiom. It's not proven. It can't be proven. Why can't it be proven? Why can't you prove an axiom? It's your basis. Okay? It's the basis for all proof. Obviously, if an axiom is your first principle, your starting point, your most basic premise, there's nothing before it. It's first. That's the meaning of first. It cannot be proven. No, not first cause. It cannot be proven. What is the axiom of Christianity? Which God? I'm sorry? How do you know that? How do you know His name? The Bible. So the existence of God isn't your first principle. The Bible is. It's prior to that. That's the only reason you know of God. The axiom of Christianity is the Bible alone is the Word of God. That's the starting point. It's unproven. It's unprovable.